Well, you know, when I was with the gate, too,
Yeah.
I spent 7 years with the gate, on and off. And
Yeah, going back and forth. You had
going
a
back
kind of
and
a thing
forth
going
with
with
them, from
them.
the Gaiety going to them, coming back to
Yeah.
Gaiety. Because
Yes.
that's the way they work,
Yes.
the Gaiety. And I went with Sidle Cusick
Yeah.
Company and McMaster.
All right.
The only Shakespearean company we ever had really in Ireland. Andrew McMaster. And he,
What was it called? Was it just called?
just the McMaster Company,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah.
McMaster said. And he was married to Michael McLemore's sister.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. And you know, I often do. I thought it was a terrible thing to happen, really, myself, when they done the book on him, the brothers, or the fellas or something was called, and they said he was born. He wasn't an Irish man.
That's right. He claimed to be born in Cork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, what makes an Irishman?
Yes.
What makes any man say? Well, because he's born in England doesn't make him an Englishman.
Yes, it's not an issue. Shouldn't be an issue.
No.
The man did everything in this country.
Yeah.
And so why?
I mean, he came to Ireland probably when he
Yes.
was a very young person.
Yes, and
It's
embraced it fully, didn't he?
Yeah, oh, completely.
And that's a compliment.
He was a fluent Irish speaker.
Yeah. Oh, was he?
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Speak Irish. Says it could go over to the Allen Islands and he'd be on it. He wouldn't be out of place with them. And he could speak several languages actually.
Yeah. How did you find the Shakespeare theatre compared to the variety? I mean.
Oh, it's a big change. It's a big change over. You know, the Shakespeare and all the play thing. They're all very serious. Not that the variety artists are very serious about their job, but they're more relaxed.
Yeah.
They're more.
And there's always the music with the
And
variety
music,
to lift you up.
Lifts you up and all.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. No, but saying that, I love the plays. I love going to a play if they're good. I like to see a good play.
Yeah.
And because
You appear to like all types of performances.
oh, I like any performance. Any performance. I love any performances. I mean, people would laugh at me and say that I love going to the ballet.
Yeah.
Because the ballet is so graceful and the music is so graceful in the ballets and the movement and all. You know, you have to. I suppose, in a sense, I was very lucky. I got a chance to seeing it all, every part of the business. And then the gate, you know, I went with Sidle Cusick first. When I was with him, we done the Playboy of the Western World. Siobhan McKenna, Etna Dunn, Sidle, Walter Mackin, Jackie McGordon. They're all old. They're all gone now, every one of them, you know. And we went to Paris.
He had the makings of a great actor, incidentally. He was really coming into his own, Jackie.
It was just.
And when he died, he was coming
very
into
young.
his...
Jackie done very.
He was certainly up there with...
up there with the best of them, Jackie was. Yeah. Well, Jack and we went to Paris to the first international festival with the Playboy of the Western World on the invitation of the French government through our own government here. And we were sent over, and I was honoured. I was picked to go with them as their carpenter to fit up the sets over there. And we got to play the Opera House, which is the big theatre over there. And there was a big Italian set. We done 3 nights, and someone else done 3 nights. But we had the last 3 nights, the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. They were their nights, and the Italians were on. But we had to have a rehearsal beforehand on stage, you see. But they couldn't take down the set. It was too big.
Massive.
Big
things.
So,
that was an operatic set.
Yeah.
And they tend to be ginormous. And everything is,
but anyway,
the scale
it was,
of that was bigger.
We put the set up in front of the Choir Court in the sort of Bernhardt's Theatre. I think that's what it's not. But in front of the Fur Court, we set up our set to rehearse in. The stage manager did. And I come in and sat down on the stage, and everything I had with me was on the stage in front of the curtain. And I sat in the front row and I said, "Oh Jesus, I've got problems. I mean, we're not going to mask when I go onto the stage. I haven't got enough material to mask around the sides because you didn't mask in front of the Fur Curtain. So when we got onto the stage, so the stage manager laughed at me And he said, don't worry, George. He said, we'll sort something out for you. And they went over to a theatre across the road from us, and they bodied the site. That's a big curtain that goes around Psychorama, like supposed to be the sky. And I've never seen anything like it since. We brought it in and they hung it on the hung, and I just put the set in the middle of the stage, this big open stage, and this was all around it. Thing. And the set never looked as well.
With that backdrop.
It really made, this is what the She-Bean was in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
It really was.
It isolated it. And it made it, that was a way out of
it.
That.
It was beautiful, it was. But the most amazing thing was when it came to the night scene, on the play. And I tried to tell the electrician, who couldn't speak English, you see. I couldn't speak French. And I was trying to tell him, bring the lights down dark, night, take the lights down on this thing. And eventually he got what I meant, hold it. And he goes into the corner and he fiddled around for a few minutes. And this big side was on a track, turned around. It was all black on the other side of it. And he flicked the flash, and then it lit up with all little stars, like a night sky.
Brilliant.
It was absolutely brilliant. And we won honours at the thing. The company won an honour for the...
What year was that?
In 1956.
Was it?
Yeah. Then I went...
It must have been great, sorry, George. There's George McFall, like in Dubliner, all of a sudden transported to Paris. What did you think of the place?
Oh, marvellous. I mean, I must say, the thing, when I going to Paris to me was, it was great honour and all that thing, but my thing, I want to see the Mona Lisa. So the first day I had off, I dragged half the company with me to see the Mona Lisa, and it was the most disappointing thing I've ever saw in my life. I was shattered when I looked at it and said, what's so great about it? But that's what I enjoyed the Louvre and all, and had a great time in Paris. And then, of course, the Gate. I toured a lot with the Gate, and I went to Egypt with the Gate.
That must have been interesting.
Same thing. And we took 5 shows, sets, costumes and lights, everything with us to Egypt. We were invited out by the Egyptian government, who paid our fare out. And we played the Opera House in Cairo. We played in Port Said, we played, and Alexandria we played. But when we were finishing in Cairo, which is the last night, I think, our stage manager at the time, Colin Kelly, Lord have mercy on him, Colin got sick, very sick. And we had to travel the next day in the train. He was very sick. We got to Alexandria, and of course we got a doctor immediately for him. And we got the shock of our life. The doctor told us he would be dead by 12 o'clock. There's nothing they could do for him. He had developed polio. He couldn't breathe. And there was no organ lung out there or anything for him. And he died. He died at 12 o'clock on a Monday morning. And we were performing opening night on Monday night. And Anna Manahan, who was married to Colin, was playing the lead in the play. So she had to go on just the same. And he was buried that day. He was buried in all the one day, within 24 hours. And he had to go on. We opened that night. It was I don't know how we got through the thing with it. It was a terrible shock to us all. To Colin. Colin was a brother of a lad, a newscaster, Kelly. Remember, he went to prison, but he wouldn't give. He said,
yes,
he was a brother to him.
That's right. He later became a religious correspondent.
That's correct. Yeah. That was Colin's brother, and he was up for the Irish Press at the time, and it came in on the Irish Press thing, the news that Colin had died in Egypt. That's when he got word of it.
And that was just like a viral thing that he just picked up. Well,
we think he picked it up here before he went out.
Right.
Because there was polio in Waterford.
Yes.
And he went to Waterford
Dearly
before
me.
he went.
Oh, dearly
and he
me.
could have picked it up, thing. And we were 5 days going over on the boat. Thing. And people do say, cruise. I'd love to go. I would never go on a cruise in all my life. It was the most boring 5 days on a boat, no big line and with everything there, no, but it was still boring. You seen everything the first day. but what happened then in the corridor was then the Suez Canal thing happened. We had the Suez Canal, the Egyptian raided Egypt. The Israelis come over, take over the Suez Canal. And we were caught in the middle of it. So when we had that time, we'd no embassy in.
Can you remember the year? What, roughly?
1956.
Oh, 56 that was.
Yeah. And because the British government, they took over for us to look after us. And they flew some of the company out straight away to Malta. But there was 7 of us who couldn't fly. They didn't have us to go out. We had to stay with the costumes and sets and things to try and get there. They were all on the docks waiting to go. We were staying in Port Said in a hotel, and we were there one day afternoon. Now, we couldn't go very far from the hotel at any time. We had to tell them where we were going. And if we were going somewhere else, we had to go back and tell the hotel we were changing our mind and going somewhere else. And we were told to be ready to move at a moment's notice. And we came back one day to lunch and we went in to sit down to them. We only sat down when this Navy officer came in, a British Navy officer, and he said, "Leave it, get your bags, you're going now." We drove down to the docks, put on a Navy boat, a Navy tugboat, a little small thing. And we were the last boat to go through the Suez Canal before they blocked it.
Really?
Yeah. And they took us to Malta. And we 3 days at sea. I would not want to wish it at anybody or do it again. We ran into rough storms. No rain, but just storm wind and high seas. And we were as sick as anything. Everybody was sick on board with it. And Leo Layden, the actor, was with us on the boat. And Leo said, Leo was sitting there doing, like us all, and all he kept saying was, "Oh my God, whiskey tuppence a glass and I can't drink it." That's all it was on the boat, the Navy boat. It took us 3 days to get to Malta. And we weren't able to shave or anything for the 3 days. We couldn't stand up for the 3 days.
Was that bad?
It was that bad. And we come out with no money. We couldn't take the money out.
Oh dear.
Had to leave it. Come out with nothing after all that work.
Oh dear. Yeah.
So we had to work. We'd done a show in Malta for a fortnight for the British people. And then we flew home from Malta back to Dublin.
But doing that show got the money back up a bit.
It did, yeah. Now, the company got no money.
Yeah.
For years afterwards, the company got no money. It was tied all up in Egypt.
Yeah.
All the sets was gone, everything. Costumes and all were all lost and couldn't get them home. But that's show business.
It is, I suppose.
Yeah, it's show business. You just have to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But
do you know, who would have thought that when you went for that job with Louis Elliman that you would have been in Paris and you would have been in Egypt?
I never for one more. I mean, I would never went where I went. I went to Paris, I went to Nantes, I went to Ensenada, I've been in Brussels, I've umpteen places would show us, South Africa. But I'd have never went anywhere. I wouldn't have went further than Cork. Maybe across the England thing. But I'd have never, and you know, everything was paid for. And I got paid for it as well.
Paid holiday.
A paid holiday. Now it was hard work.
I will understand
Believe
that.
me, it was
but
hard
you're
work.
talking about times that people did not travel and did not go, and there wasn't the free movement of people across borders.
No.
And to go to Paris was a big trip.
Oh, a marvellous trip.
You were really going foreign.
Foreign. Oh, yeah, foreign, you were. I mean, you were foreign if you went to the Aden Islands. I mean, that was really, and I mean, to go all the way to Egypt by sea, you know.
Yeah.
5 days at sea going to Egypt, you know.
Mm.
And like coming home when we were flown out from Malta, it was something like 10 hours flights. In the flight, we had to touch down at Rome to refuel.
Really?
You know, coming out, the flights.
I know.
But it was
yeah.
a great experience. Like I never.
Oh yeah.
You never would have done it. And then, of course, after I retired from work, my old pal Tony Kenny, who I'd known,
Yeah.
he got me to go down to Butlins with him And we used to do the clown and Butlins, the two of us, as clowns. And Butlins for years after that.
Very good. That was very good. But you know, so show business have given you a lot.
Oh, an awful lot. An awful lot. I would have never seen the life. I'd have never had the life I had.
Yeah.
Ended up with no money at the end of it, of course.
Well,
But
nobody else ended up with money,
No,
George.
no.
That thing. You worked, and your money was gone at the end of the week, and you started
That's
again the
right.
next week. Nobody accumulated anything.
no, no.
So that was okay.
But I'd do it all again.
Yeah. And you got to meet people and be near people who the rest of us would have given our back.
Well,
teeth
I'll
to
tell
be
you
there.
one thing I'll say about it is that when I went away, I didn't go as a tourist. And I met the real people that lived in these countries.
Yeah.
The same as we do, the working people. And you know, they're no different than we are. I remember in Alexandria, the electrician in the theatre, lovely theatre, we played, a great staff. And the electrician there, he was married, 2 children. And he asked us, 3 of us, he asked us back one afternoon, come back to meet the wife, you know. And we went back with him to Helen. In a flat, like the flats here, no difference thing. Kitchen, bedroom, and sitting room, just a little sitting room, which they use as a dining room as well. And we were sitting there, and she was in the kitchen, just like that in the kitchen, and she was getting things. He went in to give her a hand, and I laughed to myself when I heard what she said. She said, "I could kill you, bringing people back here and not telling me. The place might have well been filthy." And I could say to myself, I could hear an Irish wife saying exactly the same thing to any of us coming back with somebody and not unexpected.
The same situation for wives and the same response.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Exact same.
You know,
We are all the same.
we are.
You know, we are all the same. And you know, that was a great. You're have to give me so much on that. And you know, a lot of people are still that. I always keep going back to your 1957 you started, because in a way, because we were influenced a lot. Now, a lot of the comedy came to us from British films, and there were great films, the Ealing comedies and so on. And you mentioned 1 or 2 names there. Who else? What were the other big names that you can remember that would have come over at that time? Jack Bendy, certainly.
Oh, Jack Benny was certainly. You know, we had John Hewson, an actor. There was a lot of actors who were not known.
Yes.
Like, they were big actors in England, but wouldn't have been known here.
Right.
Thing.
Right.
Like, you know, and we, at that time, like, a show came over, big musicals came over. Like, we had Brigadoon, which is marvellous show, Brigadoon.
Yeah.
Thing. And they come up, sets and all. They always brought their own stuff. And we played to empty houses with it. It was a marvellous play, show, musical. Great dancing, singing and all, everything. 2 weeks later, the film was on in the Carrington. Brigadoon.
That's right.
See? And it's only a film I ever remember. Ran for 2 weeks in the Carrington. Non-stop, right the second week in it. A couple of years later, the Ordinary done it in the Gaiety, and it packed because people had got to know it through the films.
It wasn't just an unknown. What's this about? What's this going to be like?
Yeah, and I mean, Richard Harris came to the Gaiety.
Did he?
Yeah, Richard Harris played in the Gaiety in The Ginger Man.
Dunleavy's.
Yeah. And he closed the Gaiety after 3 nights. The first night in it that he was on, there was nearly a riot in the Gaiety over it because it was banned. The book was banned at that time. You know, everyone had read it, but it was banned. Thing. And people got up and shouted, and get this filth off this stage, and don't bring that filth into here. Thing. And closed. Then we couldn't get in. We were outside protesting with placards and Legion of Mary walking up and down, and other people all walking up and down with us. And anyway, it ended up that Louis Elliman wanted some of the scenes cut out of the thing to carry on, and Harris wouldn't cut them. And Louis closed the house for a fortnight. Took the play off. So we were closed up for a fortnight. And remember, Louis was a Jew. But he closed the house for a fortnight because of the thing, and
Like he stood his ground.
he stood his ground, yeah. No, we got paid.
Yeah.
Didn't back doors. Thing. And Harris came back again a good few years later. He came back, the one thing he made all his money on was Camelot. He'd done the one-man show at Camelot.
That's right.
And he came back to the Gaiety. And at this time, I had come stage manager when he came back, and we had set up the stage for him that day. He was doing one Sunday night performance, no more. And he came in about 4 o'clock. I met him, and I shook hands with him, and I said, "Nice to see you back again." I said, "You are going to run the whole time this time." He stopped and looked at me, and I couldn't repeat what he said to me because he caught me. And he said, "Do you realise? Do you were here then?" I said, "I was." And we talked a good bit about it in the times and laughed about it, you know. But he came back and on the show, and Godfrey James, he came back. He done the first Finnegan's Rainbow with Jimmy O'Dea, which was the last show Jimmy O'Dea ever done. And a lad named Godfrey James, an English artist, he came over and played in it. He was only young at the time. And when we done Annie, he came back to play one of the leads in it, Godfrey. And again, I met him when he came back, and I said, he's going to rehearse. I said, "You know where to go." I said, "You know where it is." In the same place we rehearsed.
And was he surprised?
He was surprised, yeah. I said, Finnegan. So he went up there, and he'd come much older and fat, put on weight and thing. But lovely singer, great singer, marvellous singer. He played in Annie. Now, Annie was I think, the longest running show in the Gaiety. Ran for 6 months.
Right.
Never known a show to run that long. We didn't do pantomime or anything that year. Maureen Potter, she was fabulous in it. Great. It was a great show. Jacinta White.
That's right.
Played Annie. Now, she'd played it in England.
Yeah.
And came over and played that. And it was a show, everything in it was made here.
Yeah.
We done everything here. And in England, when they put on Annie, they had to close the theatre for 6 weeks to put in a stage, because everything was on tracks, was working on tracks. Just all the sets changed in front of the audience.
Right, there was no, yes.
And it was all electric and mechanical coming in and out.
Wheeled in and out, yeah, on tracks.
Now, we couldn't afford that here.
Yeah.
There was no way we could afford it. So we had the Bob Head, the designer, came up with the idea. And they sent over, before we got the rights to do it, there was two people came over to have a look to see how we were going to do it, because it had to be done exactly the way they couldn't change it.
Yes, yeah.
And we had to mock up a kind of a stage, the way we were going to work it, and show them. And they said, "Yes, that'll work. You can go ahead." And we had, at that time, the Gaiety had a rake at the stage of 1/2 inch to the foot of a rake.
Yeah.
See, but we had to take that rake off it. So we had
because you couldn't let people see.
No, otherwise everything, we couldn't run them the way we wanted.
Yeah, because it would have been all tilted forward.
Tilted over, so we had to take the rake off it.
Yeah.
So we had to build a false stage.
Down at the light downs.
The whole right back.
Oh, did you? Oh, right, all the way.
All the way.
I thought you might have just levelled it.
No, we had to do it all the way back.
Of course, it sloped all the way. Of course,
yeah,
you had to go.
You had to go all the way back on it. It was built in the Gaiety. We built it in the Gaiety, and we had to have tracks in it, because we had to put things on casters underneath it.
Yes.
And the sets fitted into these.
Right.
And we had lines, what we call trick cord. You call it sash line.
Yes.
We call it a trick cord. Underneath, and it's running to a hook, hooked onto these things. And we had winches off stage in the docks. Just an only hand winch, no ratchet, no nothing.
Yes,
just
yeah,
twist
silent winch.
Silent winch, just done it. And I ran along up the wall onto the winch, the line.
You didn't see anything?
No. And when they bring it into the dock, we take out one set and fit the other one onto it.
Very
now,
good.
The men on the far side of the stage, they brought this stuff on from this side. And we brought on their stuff in the winch, you know.
So it was always going to cross.
Cross, always.
Yes.
And the whole it worked marvellous.
Yeah.
Honest, marvellous. It's a good thing. And everything, including the props and everything, were built here. Because we had to have special furniture made to fit into everything. Chairs,
yes.
tables.
Because they had to move. They had to move.
And they had to be.
And that would have, and it worked very well.
Oh, marvellous. It was great.
And it looked good while it was moving.
Marvellous. Absolutely marvellous. I mean, there was scenes in it like where they were in the house and they walk out of the house and then into the street.
Yes.
And everything moved and the street moved in.
Yes.
So they were in the street and then the street back to the house.
Yeah. Well, even that's entertainment in itself.
It was entertainment. It's the only show I remember.
Yeah.
The only one I really remember that on an opening night. The opening night was a charity night.
Oh, yeah.
And the price of tickets were sky high.
Yeah.
Now, usually on these things, big charity nights like that, people come to be seen.
Of course.
They don't come to see
Not
the
at
show.
all.
They're not interested in what the show
Not
is
at
about.
all.
You
Not
know,
at
as
all.
we know.
It's an excuse
It's an
to
excuse
flaunt
to
it.
get out. All the glamour, dress suits and everything. Everything was all the girls and the women and their glamour and all. And it was great buzz in the whole house with it. And it's the only time I've ever seen a standing ovation at the end of a performance on an opening night like that.
Yeah. Very good.
Never seen it. No matter how...
Well, it was a great play. It was good. It was a great general purpose for all kinds of audience play.
It was. And they were marvellous in it.
Yeah.
Great. And I remember one night, we didn't use the house tabs. We had to cut out the house tabs because of the way the sets were.
Yes, they were.
We couldn't
yes.
drop them in. There was an open stage when you come in.
Yes.
Finished on an open stage. And
Yeah, that's where it started and finished.
Yeah. And one night, at the end of the show, there was a whole load of Americans in. And as you know, Americans talk very loud. And one American said to his party, and we heard him as clear as day saying, "Well, I can tell you one thing, it's not Broadway."
Oh, go away.
We said, "That's the damn show."
Really? Really?
Which I thought was marvellous to hear.
A great compliment.
Great compliment to hear.
Yeah.
And turn around and say, "It's not Broadway, but it's a damn better show." So it really was a great thing.
You haven't seen so much and so on. And, the advice that you give to people, having watched so many performances and having been at so many rehearsals and seen so much of it. And, the advice that you gave with, say, an artist, a singing artist going out and the stagecraft and what's necessary to entertain. And because a lot of it's obvious, but it has to be pointed out to them.
Of course, the young people coming up, young people coming in see a different side of it.
Yeah.
They come in and they think it's going to be great, but they don't realise the hard work that has to go into it until they get there.
Yeah.
I mean, even today, with all the pop groups and everything else, there's at least 12 to 14 hours work every time they do a show to get it right.
Yeah. Are you a little disappointed that the magic has gone out of here? We don't have the magic anymore.
Oh no, I am very disappointed.
We see our artists on chat shows and the magic is
magic
gone.
I can't stand going into a theatre. I think it's terrible when you go in and the stage is open. To me, the theatre is the first time machine. It can bring you to the future and it can bring you back into the past, and it can tell you what's happening today, and it's all live in front of you. It's not on film, it's live, you're seeing it happening. And I think when you go into a theatre, the curtain should be in, the lights are on, people sit down, and which you don't have now, the orchestra, which we did have years ago. The music, the orchestra's beginning to tune up, the lights fade, a hush falls over the audience, and that curtain rises. And you're going from a different world, stepping into a new world.
The magic begins.
The magic begins. And we were always told, we couldn't, as stage people, we were never to be seen doing anything.
Because you were part of the magic.
Yeah. No one ever seen us.
You couldn't let anybody see the tricks.
They couldn't see us. No one ever knew about it. We didn't exist there as far as we were concerned.
Yes.
We weren't to be seen.
Yeah.
And you'd be told off if you were seen. I remember one time we were doing a show with OD when I only started, and we were doing a thing called shop windows, and there was big things on trucks, and we had to bring them way down front. With the results is we had to push the front tabs, which are we call tabs, they're curtains, down a little bit. Now, when you stand behind them and push them down, naturally the bottom goes up about that much when you push them down. And we're getting the setting, and I was holding these curtains back while they were setting in the thing. And OD said to me, took me on his shoulder, he said, people don't pay to see your shoes, which could be seen under the curtain. And I looked at him, he said, turn around the other way and face it and push the curtain that way, and you won't be seen because you'll be able to stand back.
Yes.
But that was OD. Okay, some people may have thought, who the hell does he think he is telling you?
But he had a sense of magic. He knew what the theatre was about.
He knew what it was about, and I listened to him, and he told me I'd done anything.
Yeah.
Anything he'd tell me, or any artist that would tell me anything, I listened to them. I may not always agree with what they said.
Yes.
Well, I listen.
Yeah.
Because you always listen to everyone that tells you anything on the stage. Because somewhere in it, there may be that little thing that'll make the difference of a show.
Yeah.
Now, one of the jobs of a stage manager is, when you're at rehearsals, you're the go-between the director and the artist. Because you might get an artist who comes on to do something, the director is telling him to do something, and he doesn't feel happy about it. Now, if he turns to the director and say, listen, I don't think I should be doing it this way, the director immediately is going to get on his high horse and say, I am directing, you do as director, that's your contract. End of story. But if the artist is when he comes to the stage manager, and he say to the stage manager, if he's doing it, the stage manager's doing it, I say, I don't feel happy about doing this. I just don't feel it. At the break, I will go to the stage director, and I'll sit down and say, listen, I tell you, so-and-so, whatever the artist may say, I think he's having a problem. He's worried about doing such a thing. Oh, the director, what is he worried about? Tell me, what's he worried about? And very minute the dad said, oh, tell him to come over to me, come here, sit down, what's wrong with you? What are you worried about? Tell me what you're worried about and I'll tell you what I have. Now, that's a different approach to it. He's not objecting to doing it, but and the director feels that, I have to help him, get him out of it. I must help him. Now, he'll sit with him and he'll say, right, you're not happy, let's try it this way. Or he'll explain to the artist why he wants him to do it that way. And the artist might feel then, I see the point.
Yeah. But you had a role then to transmit that.
You have to be the one to go between.
And again, it's to do with approach. And that's a much more acceptable approach.
Than the fella saying, I don't feel it.
Yeah, Conor Evans, the actor, married to a thing.
I know Conor.
Well, Conor is doing a piece for me at the moment. This thing and project I'm doing. And he's a funny fella. Conor
I know he is. I know Conor well. I know.
Do you?
Yeah.
I must tell him I
tell
didn't
him
know.
Tell him.
I didn't know.
Did I too?
He's a funny man. And Conor would say, I said, I wonder just if I could just make a small little... And they'd always say, don't be ridiculous. And they'd move, and he'd kind of be left like this, But it was funny because the way he was so meek in trying to get a suggestion, and they'd always, but he would tell it against himself.
Yeah. But I know Conor for years, know him and his wife for years.
Do you?
Oh, God, yes.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I really didn't know.
Oh, God, yes. Way back. Conor, yeah.
I didn't know, And you know something? I was only talking to Conor yesterday on the phone, and it dawned on me yesterday that because Conor's theatre connection and all the rest of it, I was only going to say to him, but I'd asked Joe, and Joe could be a bit funny too. And I said, I better not, because I can imagine now if I don't ring Joe. And of course I rang Joe and he couldn't make the bloody thing because Conor would have loved to,
Oh, we'd having a ball together here.
But he's a funny man, Conor. But regardless, what we've done today is you've given an awful lot of information about your own life as well. And you didn't tell me how many years you were in the Gaiety.
48.
You should have held on the other two, George.
48. Well, it wasn't my fault that I didn't hang on to it.
Yeah.
I had a bad management in the end.
Yes, yeah.
I have to say. They wasn't the
Was
person around, there wasn't the theatre person in the end.
Yes, yeah. But anyway, 48 years in that business it's a huge amount of time. And it gave you an awful lot, and the early travels and all that, and a nice business to be in.
Yeah.
Can you ever imagine yourself having done anything else?
No, never. I was very lucky in a sense when I think about it. Like, my hobby was amateur dramatics as a child. Kid. Always belonged to a dramatic society or a variety club or something. It was always attached to it. And I got a job at my hobby.
You can't say more than that.
Can't say more than that. And the people I met, of all the years and all the people I met, I don't think I could really name one to say I didn't care or care for.
Yeah. It was a good family to be in.
Great family. And if I wanted help tomorrow, really, I'm sure any of them I could ring and they'd be to me a mile away. The same as they know if they want something. We are there for one another at all times, no matter who they are or anything. I went to a show the other night down in Raheen, not Raheen, in Collins Avenue there, the hall. I went to see a show, went with Bob, and I'm sitting in the hall, I paid it, sitting in the hall of the show, and two of the girls, the Royalettes, who were putting on the show, they were there seeing me and come running and say, George, the very man, listen, we're in trouble. We've no one to do the stage. Any chance? I said, of course I went backstage. Done the 2 nights for them that they were down there doing the amateur show.
But still very good.
Yeah, but that's show people.
Yes.
They know. Show people know they can ask one another.
Yes, yeah.
Without any second thoughts or anything, they know they'll rally around one another if they're in trouble.
Yeah. Very, very good. A different time. You come from a different time. It's changing. But but one thing that doesn't change about it, and you talked about it, the magic, people, that's such a saleable commodity, and people will always crave for that, the magic.
You see, life is like a wheel, and it goes around, and it comes back again. And I see now happening again, another change. People no longer I really want the type of songs and music we're getting. They're gradually going back to songs that have meaning, not just one word songs.
Yeah.
And I see it happening again. They're beginning to sing again. People are coming on the telly and they really can sing.
Yeah.
They're not doing just backing tracks, as we call it. They can really sing. And people are beginning to listen to them again.
Yes.
And it'll happen. It'll come back again that year.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, you did a marathon there, George, and thank you very much indeed for that.
More than welcome, and I hope whoever listens to us enjoys it.
They will, of course.